Hi everyone, my name is Ellie. I'm 19. August 8th, 2019, I suffered a spinal cord injury which changed my life forever. And I want to share what happened with you guys and my story. First of all, I want to say I'm not really used to talking to a camera, so forgive me if I'm a little awkward. But this is something that has been on my mind heavy for some time. Like, this is something I feel like I have to do. And I feel like I'm finally ready to do it and share with everyone the details of what happened and open up about it. So, August 8th, 2019, it was a normal day for me, you know. Let's fast forward to about 5 o'clock in the afternoon. So I was riding passenger seat with somebody, taking a nap. Next thing I know, I'm waking up because I feel the car is like moving a little bit faster. And I turn around and I see like this car is like literally like riding the back of our car, as the car that we're in. So I'm like, what's going on? Like, why is this person like riding the back of our car? And he's like, oh, I was paying attention to my GPS, accidentally cut him off. And I guess the guy got kind of angry about that. So I'm like, okay, whatever. Okay, so we're on our way to meet somebody, and we were like really close to the neighborhood already. And I guess the person that was following us actually lived in that neighborhood. So we pull into the neighborhood. In the front of the neighborhood, there's like a roundabout, and we pull in, and they pull in like right behind us and immediately get out of the car. They come up to the window, to the driver's side window, and they start banging on the window, cursing. I don't remember exactly what they were saying, but it was the guy and his girlfriend, and they were just like really angry. I don't remember them saying anything directly to me, but definitely arguing back and forth with the driver. So next thing I know, we leave the neighborhood, and the driver, he tells me to get out of the car a couple blocks down. And I'm like, no, I'm not getting out. Like, you know, me thinking like I don't want him to do something stupid, or I don't know, but I didn't get out of the car. So he's like, okay, fine. So we go back to the neighborhood, and we pull in all the way to the back, waiting for this person to come downstairs. And they're taking a little while, and next thing I know that the windows are down. So the guy, I noticed he like drives up from behind us and pulls up next to us, and he has like a gun in his hand, and he cocks his gun. I guess he's trying to threaten us. And at this point, I get like this feeling in my stomach that I can't describe, but it's just like something is off. And at that point, I was getting like nervous, and I'm just, can we leave? So he's like, yeah, fine. And we're leaving the neighborhood at this point. And as we're leaving the neighborhood, I remember seeing the guy arguing back and forth with his girlfriend, and then I noticed her trying to like hold him back, and he has the gun in his hand. We're leaving the neighborhood. Next thing I know, like the guy starts arguing and saying things to us, and as we're leaving, I remember turning around and seeing him start firing the gun. And next thing I know, the person I'm with, he grabs me, ducks me down. But I remember just jerking forward, and I didn't feel any pain right away, but I knew I got shot because I touched my back and I looked and I was just bleeding everywhere. And I just started freaking out for a second. I'm like, oh my God, I just got shot. And then the driver, he starts freaking out too. He's like, what do I do? What do I do? I didn't want to wait for the ambulance. So I say, just go to the nearest hospital. Just take me to the nearest hospital. So he's like, okay, fine. He starts driving me to the hospital. It's like 15 minutes away. He's going 100 miles an hour, just swerving through traffic. And the whole time, I'm just praying to God, begging him to not let me go, begging him to save me. Just praying the whole entire time. And I remember hanging on to the seat, trying for my back not to touch the seat. And I remember as we're getting closer to the hospital, I start to feel my body getting weaker. It was a relaxed feeling. And I remember just getting weaker and weaker and just starting to lay back on the seat. And then the guy I'm with, he starts shaking me, like he's like, no, get up, you're not going, I'm not letting you go. So then I got up and we were close. We pulled up to the hospital. He gets out the car's still in drive, and he starts yelling at the paramedics that are outside of the hospital, like, yo, my girl just got shot, I guess they're not used to people coming in with those type of injuries, or I guess they're not used to that. So they were just standing there shocked, didn't know what to do. And he's just like desperate, just opens the door, gets me out the car. He tries to put me down on the floor for a second. My legs are just not working. So he carries me all the way inside. I'm bleeding all over him, and he puts me on the stretcher inside. And that's just when I felt the pain creeping in through my whole entire body. And it was the worst pain of my life. Oh my God, my back was on fire. And that's when I realized that I couldn't feel my legs. It was so weird. I was so confused, and I'm just asking the nurses. The nurses are around me, putting IVs in me, shooting me up with pain medicine, morphine. And I'm just asking them, why can't I feel my legs? I can't feel my legs. It's trying to comfort me. But at this point, all I could think about was the pain, because it was so bad. And that's when I was told that a helicopter team was going to come get me to transport me to the University of Maryland Shock Trauma Center. And they said it was going to take 3 hours, so I had to wait a whole entire 3 hours, and I was just like dying of pain. So finally, I remember my sister showing up, and she was the only family member that came into the room at that time. And she was crying, and I just remember I remember telling her, I can't feel my legs. And I just saw the look on her face, and it was so sad. And she left the room. Finally, the paramedics show up, and they transport me into the helicopter. It was about a 20-minute ride, and they injected me with more pain meds, and that's when I finally felt better. And we get there, and they're rushing me to ICU. I remember getting there, and then doctors surrounding me once again. This time they're running exams on me, feeling my legs, asking me, can you feel, can you move, can you wiggle your toes? And I'm just like, no, I can't. And I tried. And I remember just feeling so trapped in my own body, just trying to move, and I couldn't. So I was a little bit more stable then. They were still giving more pain medicines because I kept asking for them. I was just in so much pain and I kept asking for them, and the effect of the medicine kept making me throw up, and I was throwing up for hours. And I just remember the pain because when I threw up, I had to make pressure with my back, and it was just the worst. I remember being in ICU for about 2-3 days until they finally took me upstairs to the shock trauma section where they took care of me for about a week. But rewind a little bit. Before I had gone upstairs, right before that, the team of doctors came in to give me the news. And I remember the doctor, he said, "You're paralyzed from the waist down." And he kept talking, and everything he said after that was just like, I don't remember because my mind went blank. I was under so much medication that I didn't even process it at the time. And I was just numb. Not even just like the pain, but like my emotions were just numb. I didn't know what to think. Just a numb feeling. So yeah, then they took me upstairs, and that's when I was being stabilized and got taken care of by just the most amazing nurses. They took such good care of me, and my family was there. A couple friends came to visit me, so I was still like not accepting what happened. So finally, after a week, they said I'm ready to go to the rehab center to start my occupational therapy and my physical therapy. And that first night there, I guess that's when it all hit me. I felt so alone, depressed. I remember crying myself to sleep every night, just asking God why this happened. And I was in a confused state of mind. I was angry. It was right smack in the middle of summer, so all my friends were out having fun, and I'm sitting in a hospital bed, unable to move, could barely sit up on my bed. And I'm feeling so ugly and insecure, just not feeling beautiful anymore how I usually do. And it was a really hard time in my life, and I was in denial, but I finally accepted it. I remember all I could do was pray day and night. All I was doing was praying and talking to God, because at the end of the day, I felt like that's who I really had. That's who was really there for me, giving me strength to get up and get through the day. And he helped me get through it. I was there for about a month, and in that month, I made amazing progress. I stood up for the first time, and I've just been making progress since then. I made major changes in my life. Not only that, I'm not gonna get too deep into the progress part because that would have to be like another video, but just I've learned so many lessons from this experience and this was totally life changing, not only physically but mentally. It really made me realize what's important and what truly matters. Like things we think that matter, in reality, they don't. And it was just a huge eye opener. And I just want to talk about some of the things that I learned. One of the first things that this taught me was humility, how to be humble. So, this is something that I would have never thought would happen to me. Like, I would never think that me, out of all people, would have to be in a wheelchair or would have to be dealing with this. Not that there's anything wrong with being in a wheelchair, but I just didn't expect it. I didn't see it coming. And it's something that you can't see coming. It can happen to literally anybody, just how it happened to me. It's just life. And not only that, but it taught me that it's okay to be helped. It's okay for people to help you. Before the accident, I was really independent, didn't like asking nobody for anything, and I just learned that it's okay. It's okay to ask for help once in a while when you need it. Not saying not to do things on your own, but that it's okay to ask for help. Also, I learned that consistency, one of the most important keys to success. Anytime you think it can't get better, it does. That's what I learned. Every day as the days went by, I didn't think I could improve, and then I did. And it just started changing my mentality because it's like anything is possible, especially when you are consistent and when you work hard. Eventually, you see results over time. Also, I learned how to be mindful. So, before this accident, I would look at people in a wheelchair and I would be like, oh, he's in a wheelchair or she's in a wheelchair, that sucks. But I didn't really care that much, you know. And just being in that rehab center for a month, I met so many amazing, beautiful people, and people have real life struggles. You know, people complain about just like being tired or like about stupid things, but there's people out here that have real life struggles, and it just opened up my eyes to a whole world of people that I paid absolutely no mind to before. So that was like really good that I got to experience that. And that leads into one of the most important lessons that I learned, which was to be grateful. We have to appreciate everything we have, especially the little things, because when those little things gets taken away from you, it makes such a difference. Just waking up in the morning, taking a breath, getting up to brush your teeth, using your legs, walking. It's a gift. It's a gift from God, and it's something that we take for granted. It's definitely something I took for granted before because I didn't think about it. It was a normal thing to me. So it was just something that I was ungrateful for. But now that when it got taken away, that's when I was able to appreciate it. And it's funny how it has to get to that point for us to appreciate things, that they have to get taken away. But sometimes we gotta learn the hard way. But that's another really important lesson that I learned. Not only that, but it could have been worse. I could have died. I could have been unable to use my arms or my hands. A lot of people out here that have to deal with that, with being unable to not only move their legs, but their hands, their other limbs as well. And that's just, it's so much harder. And I just learned to be so grateful grateful for my arms, grateful for my hands, and grateful for the things that I still have, and grateful that I'm still here and that God gave me a second chance at life. Another thing that I really learned was to forgive. At first, I was really angry at what happened and at the person that did this to me, but eventually, over time, after like 4 months, I would say, I finally started to feel like I needed to let it go. And something kept telling me in my head, you need to forgive, you need to forgive him, you need to let it go. And finally, I got the courage. This is something really personal to me, but I'm gonna share it because it's a part of my story. I wrote down in my journal everything about how I felt, how his actions affected my life, and I forgave. And it was such a weight lifted off my shoulders. I felt such an unexplainable peace. It was like a breath of fresh air. And it just felt so good to just move on. Like, there's no point in having any hate in your heart. You're just gonna be miserable. And it just felt really, really good to finally let it go and forgive. Because if we want to be forgiven, we have to also forgive others. And last but not least, one of the most important things I learned was to trust in God. We don't understand why certain things happen in our life, but be sure that everything that does happen serves for a greater purpose. And God wants the best for us. He has a plan for each and every single one of us. So I've learned to slowly trust in God, and I've built my relationship with him, and I've been closer to him than I ever have been in my life. And it's made such a huge difference. I have strength to get up every day. I don't really have bad days anymore. You know, we always are gonna have our bad days here and there, but it's like the good days that I have compared to the bad days doesn't even compare. God gives me strength to get through every day and keep a positive attitude and keep a smile on my face, because I learned that our circumstances don't define our happiness. I learned that, you know, materialistic things, money, it can't make you happy. It can't. It's not gonna satisfy you. It might give you temporary joy, but real life, real true happiness, only God can give you. And I've been able to experience that over the past couple months, even through everything that I'm going through. And it's just been really beautiful. You know, I'm not perfect, I make mistakes, but God has been there for me, and he has poured blessing after blessing on me, and I've seen God's work in my life, and this is only the beginning. That's the best part about it. So whatever you're going through, just be patient and know that God is there for you, and you're gonna get through it. Pain doesn't last forever. So yeah, those are just a few of the lessons that I learned. I'm thinking about doing a video answering questions. So I'm really happy I finally got the courage to do this. And thanks everyone for watching.